What makes a game truly unforgettable? Is it the number of copies it sells, the awards it wins, or the memories it creates years after you've put the controller down? The Nintendo Switch has become one of the most successful consoles in gaming history, bringing together legendary franchises, groundbreaking new ideas, and indie masterpieces that changed the industry forever. Today, we're counting down the 10 greatest Nintendo Switch games of all time. This isn't just a popularity contest. Every game on this list earned its place through innovation, critical acclaim, cultural impact, and how well it still holds up today. Let's begin with number 10. Imagine spending nearly 40 years making 2D Mario games and then somehow creating one that feels completely new. That's exactly what Nintendo accomplished with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Released in October 2023, Wonder broke away from the familiar new Super Mario Bros. Formula that had defined the series for over a decade. Instead of relying on nostalgia alone, Nintendo rebuilt almost every aspect of the experience, from expressive character animations to wildly unpredictable level design. Then there are the Wonder Flowers. 1 minute you're running through a normal stage, the next, giant stampeding enemies are charging across the screen, pipes suddenly come alive, or the entire level begins singing. You never know what's waiting around the next corner, and that's precisely the point. Behind all the colorful chaos is some of the tightest platforming Nintendo has ever designed. Every jump feels perfect. Every stage introduces a fresh mechanic before moving on to something completely different. Critics praised Wonder for proving that 2D Mario still had room to surprise players after nearly 4 decades. It became one of the fastest-selling Mario games ever and has now sold more than 17 million copies worldwide, making it one of the Switch's biggest successes. But as incredible as Wonder is, our next game showed that sometimes the simplest idea can become one of the most addictive experiences ever made.
Most roguelikes expect you to fail. Hades makes you want to. Every escape attempt begins the same way. You fight your way out of the underworld, die somewhere along the journey, and wake up right back where you started. On paper, that sounds repetitive. In practice, it's one of the smartest game loops ever designed. Instead of treating death as punishment, developer Supergiant Games turned it into progression. Every failed run unlocks new dialogue, deepens relationships with Greek gods, and reveals another piece of Zagreus' story as he tries to escape the realm ruled by his father, Hades. The combat is just as brilliant. 6 distinct weapons, hundreds of boon combinations from the Olympian gods, and near endless build possibilities mean no 2 runs ever feel exactly alike. One attempt might turn you into a lightning-fast assassin, while the next transforms your attacks into a screen-filling barrage of divine power. What truly separates Hades from other roguelikes, though, is its heart. Its characters are witty, memorable, and surprisingly human despite being immortal gods. By the time the credits roll, you'll realize this isn't just a game about escaping the underworld. It's about family. It's about forgiveness. And it's about refusing to give up, no matter how many times you fall. Hades proved that independent studios could stand shoulder to shoulder with gaming's biggest publishers, and sometimes even surpass them. But our next entry didn't just revive a legendary franchise. It reminded the entire industry why bounty hunter Samus Aran remains one of gaming's greatest heroes. For nearly 2 decades, fans waited. Some believed Metroid Dread would never exist. Originally conceived for the Nintendo DS in the mid-2000s, the project quietly disappeared, becoming one of Nintendo's most famous canceled games. Then, against all expectations, it returned in 2021. Not as a remake,
but as the long-awaited continuation of the mainline Metroid story. And somehow, it was worth every year of the wait. Dread perfectly captures what made the series legendary. Exploration is constant. Every new ability opens previously unreachable paths, and the world itself feels like one giant, interconnected puzzle waiting to be solved. Then there are the Emmy. These nearly unstoppable research robots transform ordinary exploration into moments of pure survival horror. The instant one detects you, the music changes, alarms blare, and panic takes over. Running isn't optional. It's survival.
Combined with Samus's fastest and smoothest movement ever, these tense encounters create some of the most unforgettable moments on the entire Switch. What makes Dread so remarkable is how modern it feels, without abandoning its roots. It respects the classics, while proving that the Metroid formula can still compete with today's biggest action games. For longtime fans, it was a triumphant return. For newcomers, it became the perfect starting point. And from here on, we're entering the games that didn't just define the Switch. They helped define an entire generation of gaming.
Sometimes, the right game arrives at exactly the right moment. When Animal Crossing New Horizons launched on March 20th, 2020, the world was changing in ways no one could have predicted. As millions of people found themselves spending more time at home, Nintendo's quiet little life simulator became something far bigger than anyone imagined. It wasn't about defeating a final boss. There were no high scores to chase, no race against the clock. Instead, New Horizons invited players to slow down. You built a home one piece at a time, transformed an empty island into your own paradise, befriended quirky animal neighbors, fished at sunset, decorated every corner of your town, and watched the seasons change in real time. The beauty of Animal Crossing isn't found in dramatic moments. It's found in the little ones. Receiving a heartfelt letter from a favorite villager. Finally catching that rare fish after weeks of trying. Watching shooting stars with friends during a late-night island visit.
Nintendo also expanded player creativity more than ever before. Terraforming tools, outdoor furniture placement, custom designs, and online island tours turned every save file into a personal work of art. No two islands ever looked quite the same. The result was a cultural phenomenon. New Horizons became one of the best-selling games in Nintendo's history, introducing millions of first-time players to a series that had quietly been charming fans for nearly 2 decades. It reminded the gaming world that sometimes the greatest adventure is simply creating a place you're happy to come home to. But our next game proved that strategy, storytelling, and meaningful choices could be just as unforgettable as any open-world epic.
Most role-playing games ask you to save the world. Fire Emblem Three Houses asks a much harder question. Who are you willing to fight? You begin as a mercenary who unexpectedly becomes a professor at Garrigmach Monastery, where 3 student houses, each led by a future ruler, prepare for lives that will shape the continent of Fodlan. At first, it feels almost peaceful. You teach classes, share meals, help students overcome their fears, build friendships that grow stronger with every passing month. Then, everything changes. As political tensions erupt into full-scale war, the students you've spent dozens of hours mentoring may become your allies, or your enemies. Every decision carries emotional weight, because these aren't anonymous soldiers. They're characters you've laughed with, trained, and watched grow into capable leaders.
The tactical gameplay is equally compelling. Every battle demands careful planning, positioning, and resource management, while the freedom to customize classes and abilities gives players countless ways to build their ideal army. What truly elevated Three Houses, however, was its storytelling. each of the game's major routes reveals a different perspective on the same conflict, challenging players to question who is truly right and whether anyone can emerge from war without sacrifice. It's one of Nintendo's most mature narratives, blending political intrigue with deeply personal relationships in a way few strategy games have ever achieved. But from this point forward, every game on our list isn't just considered great, they're genuine contenders for the greatest video games ever created.
Imagine trying to create the ultimate celebration of video games and somehow actually pulling it off. That's exactly what Super Smash Bros. Ultimate accomplished. Director Masahiro Sakurai didn't just make another sequel. He made a promise to fans. Everyone is here. And for the first time in the series' history, every fighter from every previous Smash game returned. Mario stood beside Solid Snake. Sonic fought Mega Man. Pac-Man battled Cloud Strife. Eventually, even Minecraft Steve and Kingdom Hearts Sora joined the roster, turning what once seemed like impossible crossover dreams into reality. But Ultimate isn't great because it has a massive character select screen. It's great because almost every fighter feels distinct. With well over 80 playable characters, each comes with unique mechanics, strengths, weaknesses, and playstyles. Whether you're a casual player looking for chaotic fun, or a competitive veteran mastering frame-perfect combos, there's always another character waiting to click with you.
The game is equally impressive as a love letter to gaming history. Hundreds of music tracks, thousands of collectible spirits, iconic stages spanning decades of gaming, and meticulous attention to detail make every match feel like a celebration of the medium itself. Few games have ever united so many franchises under one roof without losing their own identity. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate isn't just Nintendo's biggest crossover, it's one of gaming's greatest celebrations. But our next entry proves that sometimes perfection doesn't require reinventing the wheel. It just means refining it until there's almost nothing left to improve. There are very few games that almost everyone enjoys. Whether you're 5 years old or 50, a lifelong gamer, or someone picking up a controller for the very first time, chances are you'll have fun with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. On the surface, it's simple. Race, drift, collect items, cross the finish line. But beneath that simplicity lies one of the most perfectly balanced multiplayer games ever made. Every track is designed with remarkable creativity. Anti-gravity sections send racers speeding along walls and ceilings. Underwater routes change how courses flow. Gliders turn massive jumps into spectacular aerial shortcuts. And then, of course, there are the items. A perfectly timed mushroom can steal victory in the final seconds. A lightning bolt can completely reshape the race. And the blue shell, perhaps the most infamous item in gaming history, ensures that no lead is ever truly safe. What keeps Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at the top isn't just its polished mechanics, it's how effortlessly it brings people together. Families, friends, and rivals can all enjoy the same race, regardless of skill level. Smart steering helps newcomers stay competitive, while advanced techniques like drift boosting and shortcut optimization give experienced players endless opportunities to improve. Years after its release, Nintendo continued expanding the game with the Booster Course Pass, nearly doubling the number of available tracks and making an already outstanding package even better. For millions of players, Mario Kart isn't just a racing game. It's the soundtrack to birthday parties, family gatherings, late-night tournaments, and unforgettable memories. And yet, the 3 games ahead managed to accomplish something even more extraordinary. They changed how we think about game design itself.
Making a sequel to one of the greatest games ever created sounds almost impossible. Somehow, Nintendo did exactly that. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom wasn't content with simply giving players a bigger version of Hyrule. Instead, it asked one question. What if players could solve almost every problem however they wanted? The answer came through 3 remarkable abilities. Ultra Hand lets you build almost anything imaginable, from simple bridges to fully functioning tanks, aircraft, and elaborate machines powered by Zonai technology. Fuse transforms ordinary weapons into endlessly creative combinations, rewarding experimentation instead of punishing it. And Recall turns time itself into a puzzle-solving tool, allowing objects to retrace their previous movements in ways that constantly surprise you. Combined with the sky islands above and the mysterious depths below, Hyrule became a world layered in every direction. Exploration wasn't just encouraged, it was irresistible.
But beneath all that freedom lies something even more impressive. Nintendo designed a game where countless player inventions feel intentional. Whether you're constructing a hover bike to cross a canyon or engineering a ridiculous combat vehicle just because you can, the systems consistently work together in ways that seem almost impossible. Few games trust their players this much. Rather than telling you the correct solution, Tears of the Kingdom simply hands you the tools and asks, what can you imagine? It's one of the most ambitious examples of systemic game design ever created. And yet, there was still one Nintendo franchise that managed to capture pure joy even more effortlessly.
Some games make you feel powerful. Super Mario Odyssey makes you feel unstoppable. From the very first jump, it's clear this isn't just another Mario adventure. It's a celebration of curiosity. Every kingdom overflows with secrets hidden in plain sight. A suspicious ledge, a strangely placed pipe, a distant rooftop that looks just out of reach. The game constantly rewards one simple question. What happens if I go over there? Then there's Cappy. Instead of introducing a gimmick that fades after a few levels, Nintendo built the entire game around Mario's living hat companion. By throwing Cappy, players can capture enemies, creatures, and even everyday objects, borrowing their unique abilities to solve puzzles and discover entirely new ways to explore. One moment you're controlling a bullet bill soaring through the sky. The next, you're stretching across cliffs as a tropical caterpillar, or smashing through walls as an enormous Tyrannosaurus Rex. The sheer variety is astonishing. Every kingdom feels distinct, filled with imaginative ideas that rarely overstay their welcome before introducing something completely new each time you encounter it. What truly elevates Odyssey, however, is its movement. Running, diving, wall jumping, cap throwing, and chaining advanced techniques together creates one of the smoothest control systems ever designed for a platformer. Simply moving through the world feels rewarding, even without chasing collectibles. Super Mario Odyssey reminds us why Mario has remained gaming's greatest platforming icon for decades. It's endlessly inventive, effortlessly charming, and almost impossible to stop playing once you begin. But one game didn't just redefine its own franchise. It redefined what players expected from open-world games forever. Some games entertain us. Some become classics. And then there are the rare few that change an entire industry. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is one of those games. Released alongside the Nintendo Switch in 2017, it completely reimagined what a Zelda game and arguably what an open-world game could be. Instead of filling the map with endless checklists and objective markers, Nintendo trusted players to follow their own sense of curiosity. See a mountain? You can climb it. Notice something strange in the distance? Go investigate. Wonder if a crazy idea might actually work? Try it. More often than not, it does. The genius of Breath of the Wild lies in its systems. Fire spreads naturally through grass. Metal attracts lightning during storms. Wind carries flames across a battlefield. Countless mechanics interact seamlessly, encouraging creativity over memorization. Every discovery feels personal because the game rarely tells you exactly where to go. It simply gives you a world that feels genuinely alive and invites you to write your own adventure within it.
Moments like shield surfing down snowy mountains, stumbling across hidden shrines, taming wild horses, or accidentally surviving a battle you had no business winning become stories unique to each player. That's why Breath of the Wild continues to resonate years after its release. It doesn't just reward exploration, it celebrates it. More than any other game on the Nintendo Switch, Breath of the Wild embodies the spirit of adventure that has defined Nintendo for generations. It's not just the best Switch game of all time, it's one of the greatest video games ever made.